Italy, and the United States. In typical Nolan fashion, Tenet was shot in 70mm and IMAX. Both critics and fans gave high praise to the main actors while criticizing the overall story and its tone. The film throws you into a high-concept world to figure out everything for yourself, which would be fine if the sound mixing wasn't drowning out key dialogue and exposition you need to follow what's going on. I love Nolan as much as the next movie buff, but everything after Inception, as far as the sound design goes, has continued to suffer. And I know, it's supposedly for a more realistic approach to the storytelling, but come on. With that being said, the score by Ludwig Göransson is pretty fun and works well with the high stakes of the flick. John David Washington was perhaps the best thing about the film, as he is the first black actor to be cast by Nolan as the lead, and for me, he definitely shines through the convoluted plot. And with him bringing some great choreography and a sense of smooth that would make even James Bond quiver. Let's not forget the Neo character portrayed by the brilliant and underrated Robert Pattinson. We live in a Twilight world indeed. The chemistry between John and Robert was great, even though they both presumably had no idea what the fuck this movie was trying to do the entire time. But hey, who cares, right? Pattinson shows off why he's going to be the new Batman by secretly being the hero in this film, cleverly disguised as a secondary helping hand. Ironically, Tenet is a film that would have thrived in the theater setting, as it demands your utmost attention, but considering Warner Bros.' decision to release it in the pandemic-riddled summer, we may never fully know this flick's true potential. Granted, there isn't a re-release sometime in the future. Nonetheless, Nolan fans will find plenty of fun here as we are introduced to multiple timelines happening simultaneously, something that will for sure warrant multiple viewings to fully comprehend. Tenet is certainly not Nolan's crown jewel, but it does present a thought-provoking ride that's reminiscent of both Mission Impossible, Terminator, and of course, the Bond franchise. Look for it on HBO Max starting May 1st. Thank you.
Oh, man, that was very well. That was those play on words, Wes. We live in a Twilight world. Oh, man. some brilliant shit there, Wes, all right? Man, if no one listening right now didn't like that, you can just end the episode, because everything after this, when I start talking, is going to be complete garbage. So, totally incoherent words are going to be coming out of my mouth. So don't even listen. I mean, you can listen. I'm just kidding. Please listen. Don't listen to me. Oh my God, I'm confusing myself. That was beautiful.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I tried really hard. Like I said, I was very, very intimidated just watching this film and knowing that we were going to have to somehow podcast coherently about it, because it's so much going on. And not to say that I didn't enjoy it. I had to watch it a few times to be more confident, and each time I rewatched it, I was like, I see where this is going. But yeah. With that being said, I want to ask you, what was your thought process behind picking this? Besides the fact that we don't do new releases very often, what made you want to dig into this a little deeper?
Well, so I mean, when I picked this, I initially thought that maybe it would be more than just the two of us, and like I said before, I thought maybe we'd have Tiny on, and maybe I don't know, maybe Vic or even Chris would come on. But this movie was just so intimidating, I guess, to a lot of people. I mean, this movie, this is my one time watching. I'm definitely going to be watching this at least 2 or 3 more times. Probably tomorrow to rewatch it, and then maybe again next week or something this weekend. But man, I'll tell you, like, the beginning of the movie was, I was like, okay, this is all right. They're at an opera, something's going to happen here. This guy's going to probably get killed. He's obviously someone important. But I can just say this is probably the most confusing movie I've seen from Nolan. I mean, it's funny because Alyssa ended up watching it like halfway through, and she's like, "What's going on? Like, what's going on in this movie? What's happening? Why is there?" So, spoiler alert! Before we get through this, we're going to spoil the crap out of this movie. So, if you haven't seen it, please stop, pause this, watch the movie, and then jump back into where you're at, just so that you can, keep along and understand what we're talking about. But anyways, Alyssa jumped in about halfway through. I was having a hard time trying to explain to her what was going on to catch her up in the last hour and a half. And oh my God, this was just doing that. I was like, holy shit, how am I going to do a podcast on this movie? I can't even explain to my fiance what this movie is about. And she's like, who is he? Like David Washington's character. She's like, who is he? Like, what does he do? Like who are these people? Robert Pattinson. I'm like, oh, I don't even know who Robert Pattinson is. I don't understand. After this movie, I'm like, okay. At first, I'm like, well, Robert Pattinson's character's kind of. He seems like he's a good guy, but I feel like towards the end he's gonna fuck shit up and be the bad guy. That was my entire thought process for his character since meeting him. I was thinking, hey, this guy's some type of double agent or whatever. He's gonna be. We're gonna end up finding out that he is the bad guy at the end from the future, or something like that. Come to find out that is the total opposite of that. But man, I didn't start to fully grasp the film until probably 2/4 of the way in. So when like someone way smarter than you is explaining something, or it's like your dad or your grandpa is showing you how to like replace the oil in a car or change something in a car, and you're just staring there and he's explaining how to do it, and he's okay, so I want you to do it now. And then you're like, wait, hold on, explain it again. That was me watching this movie for the first half. I'm like, oh, like it was like going in and not, I wasn't absorbing it. I don't know what was going on. Maybe it was because half the first half of the movie I was doing a lot of stuff inside the house, but I was watching it. So that might have been the main reason. I was a little preoccupied, but I was focusing on the movie. Just had to do a lot of things inside the house. But man, this movie, aside from the stuff that I didn't understand or I didn't fully comprehend, this movie is awesome. And I do see where people are like, oh, don't, like how you said, someone told you, or don't try to explain the movie, just you have to feel it. I can understand them saying that, just because it is a confusing movie, and I don't know, this is a tough one, man. I want to hear what you think of this movie, because you've seen this. You said you watched this a couple of times, and kudos to you for rewatching it so many times. If I had the time, I think I would have probably done that, but I got so busy throughout the week, I just didn't have time to do it. But what did you think of this? This is your first time. I love the movie. I'll say that right now. I loved it, but I don't. There's just so much stuff to talk about. Where do you want to start? Because I'm kind of rambling. So let's kind of get a structure that we're going.
Okay, well, I'll start off with some of my thoughts. I do like the film. I don't think I will go on record and say I don't think that Nolan has made a bad film yet, even though we do know a couple people who probably think that The Dark Knight Rises is bad, but I don't agree. And I think Tenet is it's really good. The action in it is top notch, the way that Nolan always does, and even just the cinematography and things that are going on, it just feels very authentic, like exactly the filmmaker that you're witnessing at that point in time. And so that's always special, and I just think that about halfway through the film, probably when they introduced, they're like, by the way, There's like this, quantum physics, fucking time travel shit.
Like Army?
Yeah, known as inversion. And when you actually see them, or satyrs kind of guys using it, and they just, there's no real good explanation of it. It's just kind of like, well, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? But it's really just like, it really just feels like Tarantino on acid, where he's like, well, let's take, all of these different timelines, and then we were going to put them on film at this one time, and at one time, and just blow everybody's minds. And, they do succeed in that. I just think that had they fixed, which they probably could do, and we've said it on the show, if they fixed the sound design and the muffled kind of dialogue, even when they're out on the water, it just sounds terrible. And it's like,
I would agree on that for sure. I thought it was just my speakers, because sometimes my speakers will do that on my TV. Like, I'm glad that it was you and it wasn't my speakers, but I was like, hold on, like I had to rewind it to and actually turn on the captions, which was crazy for me.
So the good thing about it being coming to Max, or being able to watch it at home in general, is that you can turn on your subtitles. That's the key thing I could say. If you want to enjoy this film for the first, watching it even for the first time, make sure you watch it with the subtitles, because there's a lot of incoherent exposition, unfortunately, in this, where, and then when you get to the action, it's loud as fuck. And then when they're talking, it's, you could barely make out, what they're saying, because there's a lot of stuff that's being said under gas masks and certain things, or the score is drowning out somebody when they're trying to talk. And it's kind of bizarre that all of this made it to the final cut. But I've heard Nolan say that was not intentional and all this kind of stuff. So it's kind of weird, but yeah, going back to my thoughts, like I said in my intro, I do not think that this is his, by any means, his best film. I feel like he's starting to go down this rabbit hole of trying to be, maybe, dare I say, too complex, as far as
that's for sure. I think I totally agree with you. He is how much more of a confusing of a movie can I make while taking these people's money? And, how many more movies can I get away with? But I mean, I feel like he's doing it on purpose. Every movie from going down the line is let's make another little twist to kind of make people scratch their head at the end of the movie, wait, what? And then have them have to rewatch it again or do that again. But yeah, I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, he is to be sitting in his brain for 20 plus years trying to develop this. Kudos to him, I guess.
Which is, it's so funny because I feel like he says that about every film, where he's like, it took me 10 years to write Inception, but when you watch Inception, I feel like Tenet makes Inception look like a cakewalk.
Oh my God. Yeah. I was trying to explain that to Alyssa, because she's like, well, what is it like? I'm like, well, think of Inception, but 100 times more confusing. Just think like that, and that's what this movie is. And she's like, oh, okay. And I mean, Jordan was watching this movie. I don't know if he understood any of it, but he was watching half of it with Alyssa, and he was sitting there just watching it like, oh, this is cool, Dad. And I think it was the visuals and everything and everything that was going on. But I mean, yeah, it's funny that you bring up Inception, because I was like, yeah, it's Inception times 100. So that's what you're watching.
Yeah, you just let's turn up the dial to 11. Fuck the stragglers, whatever. I don't care anymore.
If you don't understand it, too fucking bad. Okay, just sit down and watch this masterpiece. I feel like that's how he thinks.